Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Rivals Race Chat or Race Chat Rivals. We were talking about that,
Yes.
Mr. Pronunciation. We're arguing about everything already. Um, so how's it going, anyways?
Not bad, not bad. Another beautiful night in Cambridge, Ontario. As always, we have our most entertaining and cohesive conversations just before we come on the air. They
Yeah,
even flow better.
it's true. It's true. Thanks everybody for hanging out an hour later with us. Adam managed to stay up late, and I'm just coming in my prime every evening about this time. But Spencer had some delays, so we acquiesced to the king and we work it out.
Wow.
Uh, Open chat tonight. So anything you guys want to talk about, viewers' choice. That's what that means. If you got questions, Adam and I were talking. We kind of run through everything so fast. If you got any questions, if we got our opinions, we'll be happy to throw them out. We have another
Or
action-packed
comments.
show.
Or
Questions, comments. We always, yeah, or comments.
opinions. Tell us what you think. Don't even ask a question. Just shout out an opinion that you feel strongly about, and Clint and I will naturally take opposite sides and chat it out.
Yeah, I'm still waiting to hear back from Twitch if we're allowed to talk about your off-road excursion yesterday because I did see the picture, but I don't know if the show gets really starting to drag. We'll throw that zinger out there. We are expecting 4 guests on the show tonight. John Cadman, who is a super late model pilot, and John, I believe, even goes back to the Players GM days with his dad. We'll talk about
Yeah.
John's history. He's recently got over the dirt and come to the dark side. We'll talk to him about that. Matt Weaver, one of the top writers of short track racing in America, is going to join us again tonight to talk about what things are like in the southern states and about a couple other topics. We have Greg McPherson coming on from Inside Track to talk about his car show. Since we'll fight over whether it's Motorama or Motorama later, I want Greg's take on that. And then we're going to have the electrifying always Larry Jackson on the show, and you gotta love Larry. Going to come on and talk about NASCAR in Canada and what's going on there. So that's what we have on tap for you folks tonight. Let us know if you have anything you want to hear about. We will be ready to go. First question, Doug Erskine, is there a rules update? I assume you're talking about the mini stocks for the Ontario Dirt Competition Committee and the final meeting. Well, I got invited to a conference call tomorrow at 4 p.m. So I think we're going to finalize that. You should be about a week out. All the tracks understand it has to get done. There's another question for you, Adam. Will Jacob Dijkstra go 3 for 3 as the Action Sprint Tour champion this year?
Well, I'd have to say he's the odds-on favorite if he chooses to commit to running that series. Absolutely the odds-on favorite, and with new partners like TrueNorth.bet, you almost think we should come out with some odds, even if we just have fun with it. It'd be interesting to go down through the list. But yeah, I think so. And there's another driver, Clinton, that we don't probably talk enough about. And we don't talk about him because he won so much at so many races we were at. It's like, well, we're always talking to him, but not enough about him because he's a hot shoe, definitely.
Yeah, I do think we owe an interview here to Jacob Dijkstra. Had some great runs. The question is he going to go to 360s or is he going to go crates? And that's something, Adam, that we could fight about forever. As rules makers, what do you do with that? Where we have these guys dabbling on both sides. In the dirt world, that was a big no-no. Like you either race one division or the other. You didn't ever get to pick two. Then we go to the super stocks and the APC series, and you got guys running all the classes on the same day. We need the car counts or needed them when we were on tour through the pandemic. I don't know. Tough to say. We got a few guys that could straddle that. If you look at what we got, not to get too deep in the sprint car world, but you got guys like Jacob Dijkstra straddling that line, Darren Dryden straddling that line. There's more out there. Alan Downey just decided to
Yeah,
move up to, I
DJ
believe.
Christie has kind of done both, but I think he'll be committed to the Mike Bowman, whatever he is going to do. But
Yeah.
I think, and let's try to reel through some of these questions that have come up. Low car counts for the Oscar hot rods. I think it's too soon to talk about that. There's great excitement with what Sunset Speedway is doing. And with that great excitement, there's trepidation from people who have been on the tour before. So we'll have to see where things balance out. But Clinton, all of this goes back, and I'm going to throw in even Garrett's comment as well about thinking of the future of V6 muscle car classes. It's not the number of cylinders aren't going to matter. We're going to get to the point where there's fewer and fewer classes, not more and more. Like it's just going to have a reversal. The strong will survive. The weak, they're all going to get amalgamated into one, right? And we've seen that with the breakout divisions.
I think you're absolutely right. I don't think like even talking about a new division right now anywhere on dirt or pavement is absurd where we are. We need to thin the herd out. I do agree with Garrett. We do have to look at the possibility, but from what I'm hearing, the possibility of the future is going to be like we're also deep in the 602 package in so many levels of this sport, right? Like when you look at, there's probably 10 to 12 divisions that you and I deal with that run the 602 package. Originally we were sealing them, not touching. Now we're going to be we're already working into it with the Ontario Dirt Competition Committee, where you can open them up with the accredited builder, get them rebuilt. So we're going to be building off that core for a long time, but instead of sealing it, pretending it's great from the factory, we're going to be rebuilding them for a while. Let's run through some of these questions. So yeah, Wesley showed you where you could find the Pinty series. Just go on YouTube, you can find a lot of the stuff from years gone by. What was the other question there? It went by so fast I missed it, Spencer. Will the Pinty series ever go to, where was the question? The States? Is that what I saw?
So the
Western New York.
Pinty's tour has gone to New Hampshire. In my opinion, the way the Pinty series goes to New York is to Watkins Glen. Like you could plug
Yeah.
and play that series as part of any weekend. The road races are phenomenal. The car counts are generally great. I think that's where they would go. As far as visiting an oval in Western New York, obviously a Holland or a Lancaster, that sort of thing, I don't see it. It just
Or Ranceville,
I
yeah.
don't think.
No. Let's bring John on. He can jump into these conversations with us too. John Cadman's going to join us now. Derek asked, do you think the Action Sprint Tour National will go province to province and a few U.S. races? Well, I don't think we're going to break out across the whole area, but I do think you're going to see it migrate into Quebec in the next couple of years. We've already taken it to New York State with Can-Am. So, yes, there are U.S. races scheduled this year on the eastern part of the tour. And, I think you're going to see that inevitably grow. The gentleman who's joining us now, John Cadman, has just jumped into that fray with the crate sprint. John, I guess the first question for you is welcome, and why the crate sprint?
I guess it seemed like, a good option when it comes to getting my feet wet in the on the dark side, I guess, as you guys call it. I think the asphalt stuff, it kind of was starting to lose some appeal to me. I wasn't having much fun the last year, and it'd been a big part of my racing career for almost 30 years now, and I wanted to try something different. There's a multitude of reasons why I was kind of frustrated in 2022, and don't really need to get into all those, but I had kind of made up my mind that this was going to be 22 was going to be my last season in the outlaw stuff, and before I even considered the dirt stuff, I was just going to focus on some bike racing this year, and then I Terry Baker's a really good friend of mine, and he's been kind of prompting me for the last couple of years to come out and try some dirt stuff, but we just never made it happen. And finally he offered some test sessions at a test and tune before the national event there in September, and I knew within the first 6 laps of being in that car that this was something that I definitely wanted to do. And coming out to Oswego for years and watching the World of the Outlaws and the 360s, a 360 was always on my bucket list before I was too old. So, this is a good start. I mean, I think that's going to be the end game if things go well in the crate division. Don't know how long I'm going to stay in the crate division. I mean, a 360 is definitely, as I said, my end game.
The horsepower doesn't bother you, that's for sure, John. When you come out of an outlaw super late model, something that'll suck you right back into the seat. Talk about the difference, though, in how you feel the speed in a sprint car, the way you sit upright, whereas in your super late model, you're kind of laid back more. Talk about how it feels different from one to the other. What gives you a more sensation of speed?
Well, it's definitely different. I mean, you're talking about the power to rate ratio is pretty significant. I mean, a super late model is 2,700 pounds and, about 750 horsepower. Most of the racetracks that we were on we were restricting the motor because we couldn't use all that horsepower. But places like, Jukasa and Delaware, and when we could go to Kawarth and stuff, we would run the motor wide open. But the power to weight is definitely a different animal when it comes to the sprint car stuff. I mean, the crate sprint, I believe, is 1,600 pounds, and I don't know what those 602s make horsepower wise. I'm assuming somewhere around 400, give or take. So, I mean, the Supers probably still has more when you compare those ratios, even over a crate, but I don't know. It was a pretty cool sensation when you sail it off in there and you don't have to lift. I mean, that was probably the biggest adjustment for me to kind of get used to, because instinctively, I mean, you don't want to, not get off the gas on an oval track, asphalt oval track. You're on the brakes, turn down in the corner and back on the gas. So it was certainly a big adjustment to get used to not having to, get off the throttle. It's certainly in a dry, or in a tacky environment there when the track is tacky at the beginning of the night. But the seating position, I found that wasn't a big adjustment. I mean, I felt pretty comfortable in the car. I mean, it's a lot tighter cockpit, and the car that I got initially was probably not ideal for my size. I'm a little big for that car, so we've already made a different purchase, and we're going to build or we're going to run a different car for 2023. We wrecked that one pretty good, as you guys saw at Oswego, so the chassis bent and we're not going to bother fixing it.
Since you brought it up, I didn't want to rub salt in the wound, John, but I guess that's the big fear a lot of you guys have when you're looking at the sprint cars and coming over, is you're going to wreck bad, because they do. I mean, these things, as my dad used to say, like everything, they're like cats, they sprout wings and fly sometimes. And these things, you got introduced like that. How tough was that to get your first weekend and destroy what was a beautiful car a couple hours earlier?
Yeah, that was pretty hard to take. I mean, I was really excited just to make the A main on night 2. Night 1, as we discussed the other day on the phone, there's really no time to test these cars. You just get thrown to the wolves right out of the gate. It's not like you can, go practice for a half a day or multiple days like you can on asphalt. You can go test, on Tuesdays at Flamborough, so you get a lot of testing opportunity to kind of get your feet wet. Well, that's not the case on dirt. So, we had to figure this out really quick. I had a total of maybe 12 laps in the car on Thursday before I decided to go buy Lee's car for Friday night. And then, that's a national event, 40 some odd cars. And then get 4 laps of practice and then right into heats and time trials. So I didn't really expect to make the A main on Friday night. I would have been absolutely elated if I did, but the expectations were pretty low. And then night 2, when we actually qualified for the A through the heat race and transferred, I was pretty stoked. I mean, that was pretty big. And then to start the race and be moving forward, and I was just excited and thought, this is awesome. I'm actually going in the right direction. We're not backing up. So I thought maybe we would have had a shot at a top 10, but still don't know what happened there. I don't know if something broke in the front end or it was just driver inexperience. It's really hard to say. The thing just took off right, and next thing you know, I was in the fence and end over end. So, I guess
if I'm not mistaken,
later. What's that?
If I'm not mistaken, was that not the night, Clinton, there was a dip in turn 4? We saw a couple, because I remember watching your car, John, come off the corner, and then just the pitch was all wrong. And you kept your foot in. Like, to your credit, you kept your foot in. It's the only way you can try to do it. You just ran out of real estate. But I kind of think there was just a little bit of air in turn 4 and upset the car.
Yeah, looking back at it and, remembering kind of what I was experiencing when I came off of 4, it's like you get up off of 4, and as you get closer to the wall, it was like it was just kind of, off cambered, and it just it just pulled me in the fence so fast and so hard. Like I didn't even, you're right, I didn't take my foot out of it because I didn't think it was going to pull me in that hard, and it did. So there was just no time to react. And, so a lot of guys say it's only a matter of time. It's not, it's a matter of if, it's when, with those things, and getting upside down. So hopefully we've got that, knock on wood, we've got that out of our way. And I don't want that to happen in 23, but you never know, right? It's just kind of part of the game.
John, one of the things you had said to me on the phone, this is going to be your first time where you're actually going to run for a season, more than 8 or 10 races in a year. You're obviously in peak physical conditioning as it sits. Anything you're going to do different to try and get ready for a longer season?
Absolutely. I mean, time is certainly not on my side as far as getting older, and you got to work harder at it. And I said to my wife in the fall, I said, I really want to work on getting into shape, better shape. I mean, I'm in decent shape, but not the shape I used to be in. I need to work at it harder, and I really want to work on some conditioning because I want to do some more bike racing again this year. And believe it or not, that's a workout too. So I really want to work on the conditioning for both the bike and the sprint car, and to run every week I think is going to be a little more taxing, but I'm looking forward to that. I mean, never in all the years I've raced since 1986, never had the opportunity. We always ran series with special events, and even back in the Players GM days, we were 7, 8, 9, 10 events a year. And then, the super late stuff, the last 5 or 6 years, it's only been anywhere from 5 to 8 races. So certainly wasn't getting the seat time that I would have liked to have gotten. And I'm really looking forward to getting in the seat every week, and, kind of working on the racecraft and see where we can take this. I'll be 55 this year. So it's a lot of young talent we got to deal with out there, but hopefully we can stay competitive, and maybe as the year goes on, we'll be in contention to win.
John, I'm looking forward to talking to you later in the season, not just to talk about the experience of running that frequently, but to talk about budget as well, because I think it'll take that long before you know how it compares to running uh, a late model program or something to that effect. And I think our viewers could gain a lot from someone who's road raced, oval raced, bike raced, and now gone dirt sprint car racing. So we look forward to chatting with you throughout the summer. Thanks for taking the time to join us tonight.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate you having me on, and I look forward to working with you guys and seeing you all summer.
Right on, John. Have a good night, man. Best of luck. We used to play a pickup hockey, and I always made sure I got on John's defense partner because I don't have to worry about nothing with that beast out there.
He's a beast. He is that dude's ripped, jacked. Is that the
great guy? Just another one of these outside talents coming into the dirt. We're lucky to have him, and wish the best of John. He already got the big one out of the way, so we'll see where things go from there.
Who's done that? Who's gone road racing, asphalt, late model, super late model racing, superbike type racing, and dirt sprint car race? Like it's not a long list of people. So interesting guy for sure.
Yeah, and I don't even think we got into his snowmobiling. Like they're big into that too. I don't know if he's actually raced it, but he's done it. Let's Mike Russell's here. Go ahead, Adam.
Yeah. Before we do that, I wanted to ask him about the Players GM series, because that was a phenomenon back in the day. So what a great person to ask about new series, because that was one that really hit the nail on the head. I'm sure it had its shortcomings, but they pulled a ton of cars all across the country. So we could spend some time with him for sure. But go back to what you were saying was more important, Clint.
I'll just say Mike Russell's here. His grandfather, Arnold Fowler, was a longtime stalwart Oswego Speedway. I think he was there from day one. Arnold, he was the crossover guard watching over everybody, and I just sent Spencer the picture. I had Rob Taylor draw this up, and we're going to get a big sign put up right where Arnold would have sit. Keep your head up. And I just love this artwork that Rob Taylor did. It's a cool picture we got done for Arnold. So, our condolences go to the Fowler family and everybody at Oswego. And Arnold was a big piece, and, struggled the last couple of years. But, man, he was there from day one, and Definitely going to be missed when we go back to it this year. Let's bring in a guy now we've talked to a few times on the program, a repeat offender, but we're glad to have him back here in Canadian custody, let's say. Matt Weaver joining us again. Matt, you get all over the place. Most recently, Chili Bowl, or were you somewhere last weekend?
I lose track of time. I'm not sure I was somewhere. I don't think I was. I'm actually kind of grounded right now. I'm in the throes of unemployment. I'm trying to put together whatever the next thing is going to be in my career, and I'm not totally sure what that is yet. But I'm going to be back on the road this weekend, Watermelon Capital Speedway in Cordele, Georgia, and from there, it's still to be determined.
I was actually going to ask you that at some point, Matt, because it's easy when you work. Well, it's never easy, but when you work for an entity and you have to go somewhere, you just expense it. You book a flight. Like Clint and I don't pull out our pocketbooks when we go and do a NASCAR Pinty Series race. The people we work for do that. We just go along for the ride. Once you become a freelancer, does this now fall on you in the meantime, or will you like you say be grounded until you find the next full gig?
It's interesting because like before I started with Auto Week in 2016, and I was there from 2016 to 2021. I was kind of a super freelancer, and there are days when you're doing the freelancer life that there's a lot of money. There's a lot of different offers you get, and you're not stuck being one employer, one place, and then sometimes it dries up entirely. And so it just kind of depends on how much work there is. For me right now, I feel pretty confident that there's going to be some opportunities. There's some things that I have kind of percolating out in the ether. Um, I've often said the last 2 weeks that I feel like a race car driver, right? You have a lot of people who want to, in theory, be on your car and want to be associated with your program. And it's a matter of like tying all the B to B together to put a full season together. And so that's where I'm at right now. I have would be advertisers and sponsors, and it's just a matter of finding the right platform, finding the right partners. And so I think I'm going to get a full season together. I'm just not sure what the figurative car is going to look like yet.
Now, what's the hot story in on your desk the last week or so? What's the biggest topic that everybody's talking about?
It's hard because like right now, because I am trying to put all these different things together, I'm probably not as clued in as I probably would be at any other point in my career. I'm almost kind of like I'm working just as hard to work as I am working. But certainly, listen, there's the NASCAR test going on at Phoenix. That was kind of a big deal today, actually. Trying out different aerodynamic packages to try to improve the short track racing product, which was not as good as it could have been last year in the first year with that new car. We're coming off of Chili Bowl, Logan Seavey's big win. But really, and you guys know this, which is why I'm on the air this week, because there's nothing else going on, right? There's no actual real news. So bring on Matt Weaver to talk about I don't know what. But there's a lot of like silly season stuff, right? We're seeing a lot of people finding new rides for their various series. This is kind of like the last bit of like downtime in theory for people that are employed to kind of enjoy it before going on the road.
Yeah.
Hey, I just got to jump in our defense, Adam, because I did message Matt on January 10th, and he said, not this week. I'm way busy with the Chili Bowl, but next week we can get him on. So we were busy last week.
Yeah, it's not even that I was like busy either. It's like knowing the time the show is like right now. That's like it would be 8:30 Central, so it would have been right in the middle of like the B mains, and so it wasn't even so much that I'm too busy for you guys. I'm never too busy, but that was not, I don't think, viable at all.
No, you said it was just too loud. Go ahead, Adam.
We understand. What's the word on the street down there with Dale Jr. and Jeff Burton and Kevin Harvick and their group buying up the Cars tour? Other people involved, and I don't pay close enough attention, but there's the stars that Joe Balish is working with. Where do these series intersect? Is there room for all of them to play? Like what's the upside? What's the risk factor? Who stands to lose in all this, Matt?
Yeah, for the viewers that are not as familiar with southeastern, U.S. late model racing, we'll start with Cars Tour, because obviously anytime Dale Jr., Jeff Burton, Kevin Harvick, and Justin Marks kind of, with our powers combined, buy a late model series, it's going to create a lot of headlines and attention. Cars Tour runs what are basically called late model stock cars. This is kind of the this has like a shared lineage to the old Busch series cars, the current Xfinity series cars. It's a hyper regional series. These cars only run in North Carolina, Virginia, Tennessee, South Carolina. It's like hyper regionalized, but it's got deep ties to the old NASCAR sportsman cars, which then became the Busch series. And so these are the kind of cars that Dale Jr. came up racing. Junior Motorsports has had a presence in late model stock cars and the Cars Tour ever since it was formed in 2015. And so the founder and owner of the Cars Tour, Jack McNelly, he's in his 70s now, and he just wants to have a succession plan to ensure that his series lasts beyond his days. And hopefully he's not going anywhere anytime soon, but he wanted kind of that line of succession. And Dale Jr. was interested and got a bunch of his friends together, and they want to do their part to strengthen their corner of short track racing, which is late model stock cars. Then you mentioned the ASA Stars series. That's the more traditional straight rail super late model. It's very similar to the pro late models that the United Series runs up in Canada, but with a stronger built engine package. There hasn't been a national series since the old ASA. Over the last 15 years or so, super late model racing has kind of turned into like these various regional territories, the Southern Super Series in the Deep South, the CRA in Mid-America, the Midwest Tour, the Southwest Tour, the Northwest Tour. And so Bob Sargent, who is a promoter of a bunch of ARC, USAC, World of Outlaw races, mostly he's a dirt guy. He's kind of jumped into pavement, and he bought two of these series, the Midwest Tour and the CRA series. He created a partnership with Southern Super Series, and they're going to take select races out of each of these regional tours and create a combined 10 race for the first year national championship to have the best teams from all over the country participate in these 10 races, increase purses, a loyalty program, contingency sponsorships. Listen, I can go on forever about this topic, and I'm getting long-winded because there's so much to tell about these two series, but I'll end it on this note. If you're a pavement late model fan, this is such an interesting time. 2023 is going to be such a fun season because you have a lot of people who have good resources behind them, the best of intentions, a love for pavement racing, all getting behind their various platforms of choice to build something that we have not seen, in my opinion, since the mid-90s, when you had the All-Pro Series, when you had the original ASA, and you had another one escapes me, Pro Cup, Hooters Pro Cup. We have not seen this sort of like support for pavement racing since the mid-90s, and that is the absolute truth.
Yeah, I mean, Hooters Pro Cup, they used to come up to Cuba Jacasa. We worked to show one of their last ones, I think it was, Adam. But Matt, a viewer question says, they'd like your opinion on the Chili Bowl starting the A-Main so late, almost 1 a.m. Eastern. Do you think they should adjust the show time to cater to the televised audience more?
Yeah, listen, this was a big talking point, right? And it has been the last couple of years. There's got to be a better way. Like, listen, I know the track prep crew; they are really, really good. And listen, the main event a couple of Saturdays ago was worth it. It was worth the wait. But there's got to be some way to get that show started an hour and a half earlier. I don't know if it's, starting the alphabet soup 1 hour earlier, maybe doing the pole shuffle on Friday night after that feature is over. There's got to be a way to do track prep and opening ceremonies simultaneously. But it's so tough to me because, like, if you're a hardcore dirt fan, you don't care when it starts, right? Like I don't really care. But as a person who has a platform and a microphone to reach casual fans, I want them to want to watch this show, this kind of niche motorsport that I'm really passionate about. And it's really hard for me as an enthusiast to sell it to the masses when that show starts at 12:30 Eastern time. And so I agree something has to be done, but I'm also not as educated as I probably could be to realistically determine what you could shave outside of the pole shuffle.
Well, I've got a suggestion, if I may. Stop handing the microphone to everybody in the building for opening ceremonies. Like that became awkward. Like you could see they were handing the microphone to people who did not expect to be getting a microphone put in their hands.
Well, how much of that though was that track prep was going on too? So we're trying to like fill, dead time, right?
No, I think so some of that prevented the track prep. Like the whatever they call the parade of states or whatever it is, and that was disappointing because most people don't participate in it anymore, right? So you've just little things that sometimes you have to move on from history to catch up to the present, because no matter what, you've got to admit you're in the entertainment business. So
totally,
for people, for value for their money, was it a positive? When you sit down at the end of the night and look at your pros and your cons, where does everything stack up in terms of entertainment? No, you find a way. Like you say, you back things up an hour, you tighten things up. The clock is not your friend when it comes to these events, so you've got to manage it.
Matt, as we look forward getting into this first deal, the Clash coming back again. Final question for you before we let you go. What's your thoughts on the Clash going to LA again?
Yeah, I enjoyed that race last year. I thought it was a breath of fresh air to kind of see Cup cars back on a quarter mile. One of the things that I'm interested in kind of following is this test they had in Phoenix today. It is to kind of get their short track program a little more exciting. These new cars, the next gen cars, have super wide tires. They have these big road course sports car style brakes. They've got the transaxle with the fifth gear. They've got a lot of aero. They've got the underbody. The cars drive too good. They can drive much deeper into the corner. They brake really good. They can grab a gear and then drive off the corner. And it made short track racing a little tough to watch sometimes. And I think that if they don't make some change before the Coliseum, that race could be even worse than, I don't want to say worse than it was last year, because I enjoyed the race last year, but you could see that there's a lot of things they've learned since then. Those cars drive way better. And I think that it's going to really stifle passing. And so I enjoy conceptually racing at, the Coliseum or other football stadiums. Take it on the road. I enjoy, you guys have been doing street races with the Pinty series for, as long, back to cast car. So this is no novel thing to you guys north of the border, but I'm excited to finally see this in the Cup series. But the same issue there, big road course brakes, big wide tire, too much grip. And so I think these events are cool, but if you're going to put your best foot forward, give the best show possible to fans, I hope they learned a couple of things today in Phoenix, because there is a lot to learn to fix the short track and road course program for the Cup Series.
I think, and sucks, I'm going to give another opinion instead of a question, but I'll come up with a question after. Most divisions, and I don't care if it's late model racing or someone brought up super stocks earlier or Cup, way too much grip, way too much downforce, not enough horsepower. Take all the grip you can away, give all the horsepower you can, and watch them go nuts. Is it going to spread the pack out and make the racing weaker? Yeah, it is, because you're going to have comers and goers. They're going to be hard to control. But I think that's a problem in racing from top to bottom, is way too much traction, too much grip. And the new cars, you explained why.
Yeah, you listen. I come on this show frequently because this is like a safe space for me to talk about my love of the Penske series, right? And so I so frequently talk about my love of those cars, because those cars are like 1991 Cup cars. They are aerodynamically stupid. They have so little grip. You see them, especially on road courses, right? They're sliding the tires, and they have very minimal horsepower. It's not like we're even talking like 700, 800 horsepower. We're talking like, what is it, 490, 500 horsepower, if even. but you take away all the grip and the racing gets really, really good. And right now these cup cars have so much. It blows my mind a little bit that we have a spec car now, that NASCAR gives teams the same Lego pieces and say, put the cars together. And they've managed to make a car that takes away even more mechanical grip and gave it even more aerodynamic grip, when theoretically with a spec car, you could build it to become anything. And they went further in kind of a bad direction. So hopefully they learned some things with this Phoenix test. The Le Mans car is something that they're using as kind of a guinea pig to see if they can take some things from that experiment to put it towards the Cup program. They're trying. The great thing was, and I'll end on this note, is that they were going to come back this year with the exact same rules package as they had last year. And the drivers said, no, we need to fix short tracks and road courses. And at some point in the last 2 to 3 weeks, they scheduled this Phoenix test. I found out about it at Chili Bowl talking to Chase Briscoe, and Chase had told me that the drivers have been very aggressive to NASCAR to make them safer, fix the rear clip, but let's get our short track and road course package better too. And to NASCAR's credit, they have listened.
Right on, Matt. We appreciate your time joining us, bringing us the Southern Insider Scoop. Always welcome. We appreciate you being here with us.
Always a pleasure. Enjoy talking to you guys. Let's do it again soon.
Cheers,
See
Matt.
you in August. Gonna get Matt up there. Well, now we're flying along here. I like these guest-centric shows. That it keeps us moving along.
I like that.
NASCAR awarding medals. I knew that cheesed you off a bit, but
Well, you know what? Greg McPherson will be a good one to ask that of, because Greg's got some cheeky opinions from time to time. I am shocked. I am shocked that Alvers disagree. In fact, I'm starting to think, Clinton, you are Alvers. Like, you're sitting there type, Adam, you're a dickhead. Here's why you're wrong. But no, give us your opinion, Alvers. I like that Matt actually cut me off to throw his opinion in there. I'm like, yes, dig in.
Please, that's why I invited him. Greg McPherson, another one to beat up Adam Ross. Come on the show, buddy. Come on down. You're the next victim on Rivalz Race Chat tonight. Greg, we bring you on annually to talk about the car show. And do you know that Adam and I fight about whether it's AMA or OMA? Motorama.
I had to say it. I had to say it in my head, but yeah, we call it Motorama.
And what do you get on me at? Because I call it Rama.
You do call it Rama.
All right.
And I haven't.
Like
I haven't.
Berry Speedway thing.
Yeah, something like that.
So, Greg, tell us how things are going. You know, the pandemic is unfortunately what a lot of us racers remember in the Motorama show for, because it's where everything hit. Like that weekend, we're all standing at Motorama. The world ended in 2020, and now we're back at it. Last year, you guys got going, got the show fired up again. But this year, if I understand correctly, booths are selling like crazy. Racers crowds filled up. You know, if you haven't bought a booth, you better call your team tomorrow, right?
No, that's exactly where it's at. It feels like pre-pandemic. So, you know, I hate to think about it, that weekend in March when everything got shut down like it did for a lot of people. And it was a long 2 weeks to flatten the curve, that's for sure. So, but it's feeling great again. We're back, and we're just about a month and a half until showtime. We're March 10, 11, 12 at the International Center. And you're right. Like, we're having to look for places. We're excited to see Oshweekend. Looks like you guys are going to come, which is awesome. And it's shoehorn time. Like the Racers Corral, I think there's one spot left for a car, and very limited booth space in the racing zone. So it just feels amazing. And it's last year, like you said, we got the show in at the end of April, but it was just a little tight. Like, it was Flamboro's opening night that weekend on the Saturday, and we didn't really have a choice. We had to move back to get off the restrictions, but it feels like going home back to our traditional date. And yeah, it's feeling really good.
I don't doubt it, Greg. And talk about your calendar year, because obviously, you know, Inside Track Motorsport News, so busy in the summer because you're covering racing, and then the winter you've got kind of more of a structured plan. What did the big issue used to be? The Christmas. Well, what used to be
Yeah,
the big
like
deal just after the season was over?
yeah, so we'll do sort of wrap the championships, and then we do delay it a little bit. We're just finishing off right now, actually. It's in-depth features and profiles with the champions. So it's just talking about champions in this issue, and that's sort of the last thing before things get rolling again. So there is some news, but yeah, in the fall, it's just the show is such a big thing to put on that we really have to focus on it, and then it's almost everything that we do after we get back from Christmas. So
When do you get to relax? Like over the
I get,
year,
yeah,
is there a calm before the storm, or is the day
no,
after the show?
no, I'm really not complaining about that, because we did a lot to stay busy over the last couple of years, like new websites and some projects. But I am not complaining about being busy. And then the day Motorama is over, we're all like that. It'll be March 13th on a Monday, and the cleanup starts, and then the side of the desk that you've been ignoring while you're getting Motorama ready, we all, you're right at the edge of racing season, and you got to dive in and play catch up on that. So, but no complaints. We're excited to be able to do the show and to be doing the magazine for, gosh, we started that in 1997. So we're like a Schweik, and the same number pretty much with how long we've been doing this. So it's a pleasure and an honor, and we're excited to do it.
Just once again, we're talking about Motorama, the car show at the International Center, Mississauga, in just outside Toronto, March 10th, 11th, and 12th. So, Greg, we talked a bit about, hold that picture, Spencer. We talked a bit about the racing, and there's lots of racing booths on, but, whether you're into anything mechanical, you're going to find something like the show. Right now, we're showing the Lincoln Electric Canadian 10. Maybe explain what that is, Greg, quickly. You can move the picture off, Spence.
Sure. With that program, Lincoln Electric sponsors it. It's kind of an homage to what they do at Detroit, like with the granddaddy of the car shows. So that they have a thing there called the Grade 8. So early on in the show, the top 8, in our case, top 10, shows in competition at the show, cars in competition are identified. The judging team puts up those banners beside them, so everyone can look and see the top 10 as judged so far to be eligible, all of them, to be selected as the Motorama Grand Champion on Sunday on the stage. So, like you said, like we all love racing. We love different types of racing, and there's such crossover too. Everybody loves neat cars who comes to the show. So whether they're a car enthusiast, they're open to have check out the racing. You got to, if you come to the show and you want to check the whole thing out, you're walking right through the heart of the racing zone there. So we find everybody checks everything out and then try to offer something and enough to have everyone interested in the whole show.
Adam, just let me jump in here quickly. Greg, we want to talk quickly before we move on because we got Larry Jackson coming on here. But there's a lot of other cars on display. Spencer can run through those pictures we sent in. But the other thing we want to mention is the Fast Eddie Night of Champions, because they're a big supporter of everything we do here on G-Force. Talk a bit about the Fast Eddie Night of Champions and what that means.
Absolutely. That is just one of the coolest things that we're involved with. Fast Eddie sponsors it'll be the Saturday, March 11th, in 3 segments on the main stage. So it's the Fast Eddie Road Racing Night of Champions, Drag Racing Night of Champions, and Short Track Night of Champions. So if you are a racer and you won a season-long title last year, 2022, at any road course, series, division, oval, drag strip, you can go to our website, motoramashow.com, register, and you'll be honored on the stage that night. We get a huge crowd, and I think in all we'll probably expect about 150 champions. So I don't think that's done anywhere else, where you've got so many champions in one place at one time to be honored like that. So it's really cool.
Can we bring up the medals, Clinton? Because I'd like to get Greg's take on it, because Greg has a good sense of humor. And
well, hang
Spencer,
on. Spencer, can we bring Larry in on the conversation too if we can? Then we don't got to rush Greg off, but if that's possible, cool. If not,
sure. And you got to team me up. You got to team me up because I've been working on the show. I'm missing stuff if you're talking about.
Run with it, Adam.
So for the big race in the Coliseum, and I didn't see fully how they posed this promotion. They're giving a gold, a silver, and a bronze medal.
Okay.
Or for the Clash. Which to me, cynical me, the first thing I said to Clinton was good. And in 2024, everyone gets a ribbon. because I didn't take the Olympic, like the Olympic Coliseum in Los Angeles. I didn't make that connection. I just made okay, we're going to go from winner's trophy to top 3. Where are we heading with this? Everybody gets a prize. But Clinton saw it a little differently, and I thought maybe you had seen it if you have a take on the gold, silver, and bronze thoughts.
Yeah, no, I think that's cool. I'm surprised the Olympics hasn't trademarked it, and the lawyers are calling because they're usually pretty strict about that sort of thing. But you know, it's a unique event. It was a lot of character last year. I love listening to Matt. Obviously he's like just humbling. He's an encyclopedia of knowledge and insights. So I hope the racing can be a little bit better, but it was certainly a spectacle and a good show. And at a time when you're interested, you haven't seen a lot of racing in a while. It's a sight for sore eyes.
Right on, Greg. We appreciate you being here.
It's a spectacle. Yeah, it's a spectacle. Yeah. It's fun. That's what it was designed to be. I thought that's one thing NASCAR's done in the last number of years that they did well, but not everyone agrees. Thanks for being here, Greg. We appreciate it. Good luck at Motorama. We'll be there, so look forward to seeing you there.
Thank you so much for having me on, guys.
Yeah, no problem, Greg. We'll probably have you back in a month to give us a reminder as we get into the week of the show. Motorama. Are you going to be happy, Adam? There, I finally heard Greg say it at least 6 times correctly. I'll be forever changed.
See, even Trayton Lapsovich.
Medals sound like soccer.
But Trayton, when you don't win, you've got to get out of your car and roll around on the ground like you're hurt real bad.
Yeah, that was just I mean, I like the competition, the World Cup, but man, some of the acting we saw there, that was just rough. While we work on getting Larry Jackson's camera up and running, I just want to mention Brighton has picked their winner, Adam. We mentioned their late model sponsorship program to get somebody up into the late models, and they have picked their winner. And Brighton Speedway has picked, I'm just trying to find it here. Oh, man, I had it a second ago. We got Larry. Larry's coming on here. Well, it
was a former racer making his comeback.
I got the name on the tip of my tongue. I just don't want to say it.
I can't remember.
Rob Hood. I knew it was Rob Hood. So Brighton Speedway and Vanderlei Building Products with Excess Storage are pleased to announce the successful candidate for the $10,000 late model sponsorship. After viewing applications, they're happy to announce the recipient is Rob Hood. Many will remember Rob from his years racing Pure Stock, Street Stock, Canadian Modifieds between 1999 and 2005. He picked up wins in all divisions. In 2006, he stepped away from racing to focus on his young family. So congratulations, Rob Hood. And a great job by Brighton, Vanderlei Building Products, and Excess Storage to help these guys move up the ladder. Speaking of moving up the ladder, guy who's been doing this for a while. Aha, see, I tied that together, Fireman Larry? That was
Hey, buddy, what's going on?
Kind of quick-witted. Are you still putting out fires?
I'm laid up right now. I got a broken foot. I should be going back to work in about 2 weeks. So had a little boo-boo before Christmas there.
Well, if you're going to break your throttle foot, good time to do it.
My braking foot, which, yeah, oopsies.
You don't have brakes in that car. Adam, we always have a good time with Larry. Great character, great buddy, always a hoot. Larry, getting ready to go. Adam, what do you want to say to him?
Well, Larry's a great story because Larry was kind of a journeyman racer, raced here and there, successful career, but now a successful team owner, right? So still people love to cheer for Larry because he's always smiling, but quietly, Larry, you've built quite a little empire there in Oakville. You've got a rental program, which you had some great success with in 2022, and it sounds like things are looking pretty positive for 2023. So how close are you to being like the next Scott Steckley or the next mega team out there?
Well, we just need a trucking sponsor, so we can purchase that big trailer that hauls all these machines. We've looked into a couple of trailers. It's out of our budget at this time. But we got, there's Aaron's car, set fast time on the Monday there. That car's still ready to go. It's all decaled up still, just like that. Matthew Scannell's making that hot rod even faster, and Matt'll be really fast for Mossport when he gets out there this year. And then I had a little conversation with Jason White last week. If we can get together a third road course car, which we probably can, no problem. Maybe Jason and I can get together again and do some things So we'll have hopefully 3 cars at a couple events this year, and not all events, but yeah, Matthew's still got a whole bunch of irons in the fire. He's got some things happening. Hopefully things come together for him. Rental deal stuff, we're just, we got a couple. We'll have 3 cars at the dirt track no matter what. 3 cars will be ready anyways, so maybe you guys can help me out there. Yeah, everything's coming together. Motors are good. 1 motor got rebuilt. Yeah, it's all good.
Larry, the schedule came out last week. What's something you're looking forward to, not looking forward to? Maybe you can explain. A lot of people are under the impression that Riverside would have saved you guys money. I don't think that's the case. It didn't get on the schedule, but being stuck out east for a small team like you would have been troublesome for a while. What are you looking forward to? What don't you like? And what's your opinion?
Well, I love every race. I'd like to race as many as I can, but like Adam and I were talking earlier today, it's just dollars and cents. The down east race will be double the budget. I know we're already out there, but you still have to do maintenance, fly the guys back and forth. Guys have jobs for the week, so my guys aren't paid, so it's a lot of volunteers, and it's really tough to do. And it's just dollars. Can't wait for the dirt races with you guys. Back-to-back nights works really well with my schedule, close to home, and having those dirt cars, hopefully we can make things work for, maybe an up-and-coming person, and make a couple bucks for myself.
So speaking of making a couple of bucks, Larry, you've got a great job as a firefighter, yes. Captain, correct?
Captain, 24 years, City of Mississauga. So
your wife, your wife is incredibly successful.
Yeah, she's corporate Canada. Yeah,
beautiful daughter, a house. You got everything in the world you could want.
Correct.
Why start a race team? I mean, that's a volatile way to spend your retirement. Like, what's the big picture? What's the draw to it?
Well, what do you do in life? Wendy and I both have a great life. We have a place in Florida. We go to, and we rent it out as well, so it doesn't cost us much to have. We have a bunch of rental properties here in Ontario. Work's been all really good, and I don't know. I just don't know what to do with my time, and I think racing's the only thing I really know what to do. Well, hang on, some days I know what to do, but I quite enjoy it. It's my relaxation. It's my PTSD stress from work, and it's so challenging, and it's just fun. I think it's fun now. When we get in the middle of July and August, there you definitely hate racing again. But yeah, I do love it. I've 15 to 48 now, 33 years of doing this, 34th year. I'd like to be more successful, but I know success takes money, and I think I'm smart enough to build this slowly and make it a Dave Jacobs or a Scott Steckley team one day. Yeah, I think I'll step aside in the next couple of years here and get some rocket ship driver like Matt or somebody with a couple bucks that can make this a little easier for me.
Larry, how crazy is it for you guys who were probably super skeptical of the dirt situation? And I hear more and more of you guys say you're looking forward to that Ush weekend. Even a guy like Brian Cathcart, who told me the week prior in Saskatoon, yeah, man, I don't think I'm going. And I said, come on, man, just bring it out and try it. And he was the first email I got on the Tuesday morning. Said, wow, I didn't expect it to be that way. So, what changed with all you guys?
Well, I think just ignorance I've always been on asphalt, and it was so much fun. And I was the first. I think we talked beforehand that I didn't want to go. And here I am bringing 3 cars. I'm like, what are they going to flip over when they hit a rut? Totally didn't know what to expect. Right. And then after watching my old Dodge go around there, I think Trevor was 10th fast on the Monday there. And I'm like, oh my God, that old car, which I love. It's still doesn't matter what you bring to the dirt. Everything is competitive, I'm pretty sure, and fun. And I think it takes just finally skill. There's not just the guy with the lightest, most left and low cars. These older cars can compete. And I think we took my car. We started like 14th, and I got up to about 5th with it, and then got caught on a couple restarts there on the inside, which middle of the track isn't very quick. But think if we could have got a couple of better restarts there, we could have done better results. So yeah, fun.
You could really see it too, Larry. Like I'm gonna go out on a limb and say Trayton Lapsevich was the best driver that night. Like the best driver in the place won the race that night. Stuart Friesen was damn good too. He was in a position to get overtaken on the last lap, right? It's like who wants it more? But you could really see people trying different things, and some of the drivers you could see they were just hanging on for dear life. You know, run in the lane everyone's running and try to survive it. But it was fun as a spectator, just as to watch how hard the drivers were working to not achieve very much in some cases, right? It did. I enjoyed the hell out of it.
So did we. Everybody that came with us, we had a whole bunch of O'Neill corporate guys there and from Cambridge. They came out and they couldn't believe it. They thought it was pretty amazing. And, you know, it might have looked a little slower than, you know, the sprint cars. Obviously they were, but they were, I thought the action was pretty tight and pretty clean. And it was, from inside the car, it was really fun to watch.
Well, it's like we said, Larry, if you took our sprint cars and put them on CTMP, they're not going to be nearly as fast as your cars are around CTMP. I mean, you're taking an animal and putting it in a different environment. So, no, I think we're obviously happy with the package enough to sign on for 2 nights and excited to build on that festival of speed we've got there. Larry, you know, what's the biggest thing that worries you going into the season? Well, what's on your mind other than money? Obviously, as a small team, I'm going to take that off the table for you. What else concerns you?
Oh, just getting organized, right? I think with my foot being broken for the last 3 months, I guess it has been. I haven't got the work done that I've needed at the shop. Guys are starting to come around. We're starting to get things done now. It's just going to be timing, organization, and then and then we'll be next. You know, we'll be at Sunset in May.
Without going into details, can we talk about the meeting tomorrow, Clint, or is that sort of a? We can talk about it in general. So NASCAR holds stakeholders meetings. It's an opportunity for team owners. I don't know if there's track owners. It's invite only. I've never been invited, but that meeting goes on tomorrow. As a team owner, Larry, how important is a meeting like that to be able to get in front of Tony Spiteri and the team and sort of a State of the Union address for the people that have the most invested? Is this something that you really look forward to? Is it something? What do you expect to learn tomorrow?
Well, I hope we have good communication between the owners and NASCAR. I think at this time there's been a communication break between everybody right now, and the rumors are running rampant. Like the schedule, the rumors are running rampant, and then the schedule comes out and it's pretty much the same as last year. And you know, there's a little bit of drama going on when there shouldn't have been, when it could have been cleared up just by a couple of conversations, really. Hopefully we can get the rules all ironed out tomorrow. I think the schedule will be in concrete tomorrow. They'll be rock solid. And then hopefully we can just find out who's going to be our director and our tech director as well. So hopefully get things clarified there. And I think hopefully some corporate sponsors coming in as well, and increasing that points fund that is definitely needed for all of us here.
Right on, Larry. We appreciate you joining us. We'll be watching you throughout the season. Always great to hang out with you when we get a chance to tip a couple back at the speedways as well.
Definitely. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it so much.
Awesome. Thanks, Larry. We'll talk to you soon.
Another action-packed show, man. We don't even talk to each other anymore. We got to stop booking these many gifts. Thanks to all our guests that came out, Larry, Matt, and everybody else who was with us tonight, John Cadman and Greg McPherson as well. And just a couple of rebuttals here. Cliff Peterson, not too much dirt on these shows anymore. We do our best to mix it up. If you want anybody, let us know who you want to hear. We'll do our best to get them on. But
and we appreciate the comments.
Yeah, we
you know what I mean. I read it at first, and I rolled my eyes a little bit. And I thought, no, you know what? That's exactly what we asked for is commentary, and it is challenging to balance the show because we're doing our best. G-Force TV is doing its best to make race fans in Ontario race fans. dirt, asphalt, enjoy it all. But it's still not the case for everybody, right? Like some
Yeah,
people like their.
like some people
I like
aren't
it all.
gonna. I'm a fan of it all too. So, like we always say, if there's somebody you want to hear or somebody you want us to talk to, we'll go out and get it. I mean, this is really Adam and my little pet project with Spencer helping on the side. We just go out here to bullshit with you guys and basically keep it alive through the winter. So, whoever you guys want, we'll go out and get them. That's for sure. Uh, and just a couple things, you and I cross paths with these people throughout our week. I happen to have John Cadman call me yesterday looking for a promo pack for Rush Weekend. I said, "Hey man, you'd be great for our show tomorrow." So that's just how a lot of it works out, We're fortunate to
Tell
have
you
all
a
these
funny
guys
quick
friends.
story.
Please do. Is it about you
I
crashing
was
your
over.
truck through the fence yesterday?
We don't talk about that. Was over at Jamie Turner's shop last night. So Jamie Turner, Alan Downey, Connor's there, a few of the crew people. And I ask this question almost everywhere I go. Hey, what's the word on the street? What do you hear? And they all looked at me and said, well, you're the one in the know. Like you tell us this. I don't know shit. I'm a mushroom.
We don't tell you much,
Feed
just keep you in the dark.
feed me shit and keep me in the dark, and that's fine with me. I said, as long as I know when opening day is, that's all I need. Hey, no, Alvers, we appreciate the love. I appreciate you being here to disagree with things. Clint, you know me, I get off on it. Like that's what I enjoy. Give me an opinion, tell me why you're right. You might change my mind, you might not, but I love hearing it.
Tell me you don't like me. Adam, you're a sick guy.
I don't well, you can still like a person and disagree with them, and that's where I think I don't mind disagreeing. You know what? I'll give you a viewpoint. Give me yours, and let's see where we land. It's Matt Weaver. I mean, we could have a lot of fun, like a no holds barred couple of hours, and just reel off opinions of everything. And this is a topic I want to bring up in coming weeks, Clinton, because I noticed when I was watching the rallycross from Trois Rivières on the weekend, how close are we to grassroots racing going back into the closet? Right? Like there was a big thrust. Grassroots racing was getting bigger and bigger. But now you got the SRX series, you've got Rallycross, you've got these different entities that are getting big corporate partners. Clinton, it's sports entertainment. It is
Yeah.
not and they're gathering big marketing dollars. Are they sucking up marketing dollars that could be spent on traditional grassroots racing? As that's where the sport's going. We see it out west with Avion Motorsports with the RS1 stuff. And I'm not knocking it. I'm just saying, is this where we're going? Who was the one? Who was the driver that ran SRX that they're trying to make a big deal of?
I'm not
Young
sure
guy. Like, he's not one of the old pros. Francis. He's not one of the old pros, and it's like they're trying to help him make a name to go elsewhere, racing with all these old pros. So it's kind of that mix of, are we building the next race car driver, or are we putting on a show, or are we trying to sell tickets? But that show is not going to start at 1 o'clock in the morning. That show is going to start at a decent hour, and people will get home at a decent hour. Thank you, Jason. Ernie Francis.
We've even had to adapt our dirt nights just to make sure they get off at a decent time. But that'll do it for tonight. Spencer had a long day. We got a long day tomorrow. Lots of stuff going on. Derek asked one last question. Could we see a midget race at Oswego Speedway sometime in the future? Maybe 10 years ago it would have been doable. I was actually trying to go after, the big midget tours down the States. What we're finding now is with the border the way it is, you got less and less guys who want to come over. We don't have any home track support here. So even when we bring 18 Outlaws, we still have enough 360s to jump in there to make us a full field. We don't have that luxury with the midgets. We would love to have it. And Adam wants to build a roof over the push-off track and run midgets year round. So maybe we'll be having the Indian Taco Bowl at Oswego in December in 10 years from now. You never know.
And the other thing to talk about coming up is electric race cars, Clinton. I think
100%.
once you go to an indoor venue, go to electric race cars. Like the future is coming, and I think with the support of someone like Glenn Stiers in this area, the possibility of being on the leading edge of that future, like it or not, and I'm not in love with it, but I know it's inevitable. The electric race cars have more torque than anything you have ever seen.
They're already putting them in midgets. Let's get one up here and test it out.
There you go. Let's go to bed.
Right on.
Not together, separately.
Jesus.
Hey,
Good night,
welcome back to Decker. He hasn't made an appearance in like a year, but climbed up on the couch and
better behaved than your wife is.
No kidding. Look at just a lump.
Chills with the boys.
Hey, what are you doing?
Leave him alone.
See you next week,
See
folks.
you guys. Thanks, Spencer. Ciao, everyone.